Good evening, everyone. I want to start with a simple thought, one that has stayed with me for a long time. What you seek is seeking you. This idea challenges the way we often think about our desires and goals. We tend to view our dreams, aspirations, and longings as something distant, something we must tirelessly chase after. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that everything we want is something we must go out and grab. This mindset can make us feel exhausted and disconnected from the very things we desire. We push harder, work longer, and strive constantly, thinking that the more we give, the closer we'll get to what we want. But this belief overlooks a critical truth. What we are seeking is already on its way to us. At first, this may sound counterintuitive. How can something we desire already be on its way if we haven't achieved it yet? It's about understanding that desires are not just random wants or wishes. They are signals from within, guiding us towards something meaningful. Every aspiration we have is tied to a deeper part of ourselves, our core values, our sense of purpose, and our unique place in the world. The things we seek are not simply things to be acquired. They are part of a process of becoming. And in that process, they are seeking us just as much as we seek them. The concept that what you seek is already seeking you requires us to change how we approach our desires. It's not about pushing harder or forcing outcomes. Instead, it's about aligning ourselves with what we truly want. When we talk about alignment, we are talking about tuning into our own energy, to our own essence, and allowing that to guide us. This is where trust comes in, trust in the process, trust in the timing, and trust in the idea that what is meant for you will not pass you by. Think about how much of life is spent in search of external validation. We seek approval, acknowledgement, and success from others. But what if the things we want are not about validation from the outside world? What if what we seek is a reflection of something already inside us, something that just needs to be uncovered or embraced? When we begin to understand that the things we desire are already seeking us, it shifts our focus from external to internal. We start to see that the journey isn't about chasing something that is out of our reach, but about opening ourselves up to receive what is already within our grasp. This idea also invites us to embrace the unknown. We can't always see how things will unfold, and this uncertainty can often be uncomfortable. However, part of what makes life so beautiful is the mystery of it. We don't always know how we will get from point A to point B, but we can trust that the universe or life itself has a way of aligning us with the right opportunities, people, and moments at just the right time. The process is as important as the outcome, and often the journey is where we find what we are truly seeking. When we stop seeing our goals as things to be hunted and start seeing them as things that are being drawn toward us, it frees us from the burden of perfectionism and self-doubt. The constant fear of not being good enough, not doing enough, or not achieving enough becomes less overwhelming. Instead of constantly pushing forward with anxiety, we begin to move with more ease, knowing that what we seek is not a far-off destination, but something already within our reach. Our job is not to chase it with desperation, but to become the person who can receive it when it arrives. This perspective encourages us to be patient with ourselves. It reminds us that we don't need to have everything figured out right now. We can trust that the right things will find us when we're ready, even if we don't yet know exactly what they look like. There is power in surrendering to this flow, in knowing that what we desire is already seeking us, and all we need to do is show up authentically and with an open heart. When we think of vulnerability, many of us have an instinctual response to shy away from it. We associate vulnerability with weakness, with exposing ourselves in ways that could lead to judgment or rejection. We spend much of our lives building walls, hiding our true selves, and wearing masks to protect ourselves from the perceived risks of being open and raw. But vulnerability is not a weakness. It is a powerful force that connects us to others and fuels our personal growth in ways that nothing else can. At its core, vulnerability is about showing up as we are without pretense or armor. It's about allowing ourselves to be seen in our truest, most authentic form, even when we are afraid or uncertain. In a world that often values perfection, achievement, and control, vulnerability is the courage to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers, that we don't have everything figured out, and that we are not invincible. It is the willingness to embrace our flaws, our imperfections, and our humanity. The truth is, when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we create the space for real, meaningful connections with others. We all long for connection, for relationships where we can be our true selves without fear of judgment. But connection is impossible without vulnerability. We cannot build deep, authentic relationships if we are constantly hiding behind a facade or pretending to be something we're not. True connection happens when we drop our guards, let go of our fear of being seen, and allow others to see us as we really are. Think about the people you are closest to. Chances are those relationships were built on moments of vulnerability, times when you shared something personal, when you showed your true feelings, when you allowed yourself to be open and honest with someone else. These moments create a bond, a trust, and a sense of understanding that can't be replicated through surface-level interactions or guarded communication. Vulnerability is what makes us real to one another, and it's what allows us to truly see and be seen. But vulnerability isn't just about connecting with others, it's also about connecting with ourselves. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we also open up to our own emotions, thoughts, and desires. We stop suppressing or ignoring the parts of ourselves that we may feel ashamed of or afraid to confront. This self-awareness is a crucial step in personal growth because it forces us to reckon with who we truly are. And in that reckoning, we discover the parts of ourselves that need healing, the areas where we can grow, and the strengths that we may not have fully recognized before. Vulnerability is not just about showing our weaknesses, it's also about embracing our potential and our capacity for change. In the context of growth, vulnerability is the key to transformation. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are essentially stepping into the unknown. We are putting ourselves in situations where we don't know how things will turn out, where there is a risk of failure, rejection, or hurt. But this willingness to step into uncertainty is where growth happens. Without vulnerability, there is no room for growth because we remain stuck in the safety of what is familiar, avoiding the very experiences that could push us forward. Moreover, vulnerability fosters resilience. It's not the absence of fear that makes us resilient, it's the willingness to face fear, to feel the discomfort, and to continue moving forward despite it. Vulnerability allows us to fail, to fall, and to get back up again, knowing that each time we do, we are stronger. It's in these moments of vulnerability, when we expose ourselves to the possibility of failure or hurt, that we build the inner strength to face future challenges with confidence and grace. Ultimately, vulnerability is the gateway to a richer, more meaningful life. It is the doorway through which we experience true connection, both with others and with ourselves. When we embrace vulnerability, we open ourselves up to new possibilities, new opportunities for growth, and new ways of relating to the world around us. It is in vulnerability that we find the courage to be our most authentic selves. And in doing so, we invite others to do the same. It's in this shared vulnerability that the deepest, most transformative connections are formed, connections that nurture our growth and remind us that we are not alone in this journey. In life, we often feel the need to control outcomes. We want to know exactly how things will unfold, what will happen next, and how every step will lead us to our desired result. This desire for control can be seen in every area of our lives, from our careers to our relationships to our personal goals. We plan meticulously, we organize, and we make sure everything is aligned to our vision of success. But sometimes, no matter how hard we try, things don't go according to plan. Life has a way of surprising us, and the path we thought we would take doesn't always match the one we end up on. It is in these moments that we are confronted with the need to trust the process and let go of our tight grip on control. Trusting the process isn't about giving up or resigning ourselves to a passive existence. It's not about being complacent or simply waiting for things to happen. It's about accepting that life will unfold in ways we can't always predict, and that some of the most meaningful experiences and opportunities come from the places we least expect. Trusting the process means having faith that there is a greater rhythm to life, a flow that we are part of, even if we can't always see it. It's understanding that our individual efforts, while important, are only one part of a much larger picture. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, we need to let go and allow the natural course of events to shape our journey. Control is often rooted in fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of failure, fear of not being good enough. These fears drive us to overplan, overthink, and overwork, all in an attempt to ensure that things will turn out the way we want them to. But in our effort to control, we create a rigid structure that doesn't allow for the flexibility needed to adapt when things go off course. Life is messy, unpredictable, and full of surprises, and the more tightly we hold onto control, the more stressed and overwhelmed we become. Ironically, the more we try to control, the less we are able to handle what life throws at us. It becomes a cycle of frustration, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. Letting go of control doesn't mean that we stop making decisions or putting in effort. It doesn't mean that we stop caring about the outcomes. What it means is that we recognize the limits of our influence. There are many things in life that are beyond our control, and it's in these moments that we must learn to surrender. We must trust that even when things don't go as we plan, there's a larger force at work, whether it's the timing of the universe, our own inner wisdom, or the support of others that will guide us to where we need to be. One of the most challenging aspects of letting go of control is the discomfort it brings. The unknown is unsettling. It's hard to release the need to have everything planned out, to allow ourselves to float with the current instead of trying to paddle upstream. But it is in this discomfort that growth occurs. The process of surrender teaches us resilience. It shows us how to navigate uncertainty with grace and patience. And most importantly, it opens us up to opportunities and experiences that we could never have anticipated when we were trying to control every detail. Sometimes letting go allows for something even better than we could have imagined to emerge. Trusting the process also teaches us to be present. When we are too focused on the outcome, we miss the richness of the journey. We become so consumed with where we want to go that we fail to appreciate where we are. Trusting the process means learning to enjoy the present moment, to find meaning in the steps we are taking today, not just in the end result. It's about embracing the uncertainty, the learning, and the evolution that happens along the way. Each step, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is part of the larger story. In letting go of control, we create space for creativity, flexibility, and innovation. It's in surrendering the need for a specific outcome that we often find the best solutions, the most meaningful connections, and the richest experiences. Control can be limiting, but trusting the process opens us up to infinite possibilities. It frees us from the burden of expectation and allows us to approach life with curiosity and openness. It encourages us to be less rigid and more fluid, to adapt as circumstances change, and to trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Letting go of control doesn't mean we give up on our goals. It simply means that we stop trying to micromanage every aspect of the journey. We allow ourselves to be open to new directions, to new opportunities, and to the unexpected twists that make life so much more than a simple checklist. When we trust the process, we stop fighting against life's natural flow, and instead we learn to move with it, knowing that, in the end, everything will fall into place. We all face moments in life where we feel scared, unsure, or out of our depth. These moments can be paralyzing. The fear of failure, rejection, or simply not being good enough can stop us from moving forward. It's easy to become consumed by the unknown, to let the weight of our insecurities and doubts hold us back. But courage is not the absence of fear. It is the willingness to step forward even when fear is present, to show up and take action despite uncertainty. Courage is about embracing discomfort and continuing to move forward, knowing that fear doesn't have to define us. When we think of courage, we often imagine someone doing something bold or heroic, like standing up to injustice or facing danger head-on. But courage is not always about dramatic moments. Often, courage is the quiet decision to keep going when the path ahead seems unclear, when the outcome is uncertain, and when we feel small or unprepared. Courage is the ability to show up for ourselves and others, even when we feel vulnerable or exposed. It's the courage to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to keep learning through failure. Courage is about not letting fear stop us, but using it as a guide to move forward in spite of it. In our daily lives, courage often looks like the decision to take the first step, even if we don't know exactly where that step will lead. It's the willingness to begin something new, whether that's starting a new job, moving to a new place, or opening up to a new relationship. It's not always easy to take that first step. The fear of the unknown can be overwhelming. We worry about what might go wrong, what others will think, or how we will handle challenges along the way. But courage is about recognizing that the only way to move forward is to face those fears head-on and trust that we have the strength to navigate them. Sometimes courage is showing up even when we don't feel ready. We wait for the perfect moment for everything to align before we make a move. But the truth is, the perfect moment rarely comes. Life is full of surprises, and there will never be a time when we feel fully prepared or fully confident. Courage is understanding that we don't have to have everything figured out. It's the willingness to take a leap, to try something new, even when we're not sure what will happen next. In those moments, we trust that even if things don't go according to plan, we will be okay. We will learn, we will grow, and we will find our way. Courage also requires us to be honest with ourselves about our fears. Often we try to avoid our fears, to bury them, or to pretend they don't exist. But when we avoid them, we only allow them to grow larger in our minds. True courage is acknowledging our fears, facing them, and choosing to act anyway. It's not about pretending we're not scared. It's about accepting that fear is a natural part of being human and that it doesn't have to control us. By facing our fears, we diminish their power over us. We realize that they don't have to stop us from living fully or from pursuing what matters to us. Another key aspect of courage is vulnerability. It's not easy to be vulnerable, especially in a world that often values strength and perfection. Vulnerability means opening ourselves up to the possibility of hurt, disappointment, or rejection. But vulnerability is also the doorway to connection, growth, and authentic experiences. Courageous people don't hide behind walls or pretend to be invincible. They are willing to show up as they are, even when it feels uncomfortable. They take the risk of being seen, of being real, and in doing so, they create the opportunity for deeper, more meaningful connections. Courage is not a one-time decision. It is a practice, a mindset that we cultivate over time. It is about continually showing up even when we feel afraid. It's about choosing to face the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the risks that come with pursuing our goals and dreams. With each step we take, we build more courage and we become stronger in the process. Courage is not about being fearless, it's about moving forward in spite of fear, knowing that we are capable of handling whatever comes our way. We may not always know what lies ahead, but courage teaches us that we don't need to have all the answers. We simply need to keep showing up, keep moving forward, and trust that the path will reveal itself as we take each step. Courage is the quiet determination to keep going, to take action even when we're uncertain, and to keep moving toward what matters most, knowing that fear will always be a companion on the journey. We live in a world where it is easy to get caught up in the need to fit in, to live up to others' expectations, and to conform to societal standards. From an early age, we are conditioned to look outside ourselves for approval, to measure our worth by external markers of success, and to present versions of ourselves that are acceptable to those around us. But in doing so, we often lose sight of who we truly are. We put on masks, hide parts of ourselves, and become disconnected from our own values, desires, and needs. The cost of this disconnection is high. It creates inner turmoil, anxiety, and a sense of emptiness. Authenticity, on the other hand, is the path that leads us back to ourselves, the key to living a life that is aligned with our deepest truths. When we embrace authenticity, we not only reclaim our power, but we also open ourselves to the people, opportunities, and experiences that truly belong in our lives. To be authentic is to be true to who we are without pretense or compromise. It means expressing our thoughts, emotions, and desires honestly and without fear of judgment. Authenticity requires us to stop pretending to be someone we're not in order to meet others' expectations or gain their approval. It calls for a deep understanding and acceptance of our strengths and weaknesses, our passions and flaws, and our unique journey in the world. Authenticity is not about perfection, it's about showing up as we are, embracing our imperfections, and trusting that we are enough just as we are. When we choose to live authentically, we create a life that is in harmony with our values. We stop living according to someone else's script and start writing our own. This doesn't mean that we reject the input of others or ignore constructive feedback. It means that we choose to live in a way that feels right for us, even if it doesn't fit the mold of what society or others expect. It means that we make decisions based on our own inner compass, trusting that our intuition will guide us toward what is true for us. Authenticity is about owning our choices, standing firm in our truth, and honoring who we are, regardless of what others may think. One of the most powerful aspects of authenticity is the way it attracts what we need into our lives. When we are authentic, we create an energetic space that allows the right people and opportunities to find us. Authenticity is magnetic. It draws in the relationships, the experiences, and the opportunities that are aligned with who we are. When we wear a mask or try to be someone we're not, we attract things that are inauthentic, things that don't truly reflect who we are. But when we are true to ourselves, we send out a signal to the universe that resonates with our true needs, and that signal invites the right things to come to us. Living authentically also deepens our relationships with others. When we show up as ourselves, we invite others to do the same. Authenticity creates a safe space for vulnerability, for honesty, and for connection. When we let go of the need to impress, or to hide behind a facade, to allow others to see us for who we truly are. And this creates a bond based on mutual respect and understanding. People are drawn to authenticity because it feels real. It feels like a breath of fresh air in a world that often feels superficial. Authenticity fosters trust, and it's in trusting relationships that we find true support, encouragement, and connection. In addition, authenticity fosters self-compassion. When we stop pretending to be perfect or trying to live up to unrealistic standards, we create the space for self-acceptance. We stop judging ourselves for our mistakes and flaws, and instead we embrace our imperfections as part of what makes us uniquely human. Authenticity means being kind to ourselves, forgiving ourselves when we fall short, and accepting that we don't need to be perfect to be worthy of love and respect. By living authentically, we stop seeking external validation and begin to find validation from within. Authenticity also invites the opportunities we need to grow and thrive. When we are true to ourselves, we naturally align with the people, work, and experiences that resonate with our values and passions. Authenticity allows us to step into roles and careers that reflect our true selves rather than pursuing paths that were chosen for us by others or by societal expectations. It creates space for creativity and innovation because we are not bound by the limitations of trying to fit into someone else's idea of success. By embracing who we are, we open ourselves to the chance to explore new possibilities, take risks, and create the life that we truly desire. Living authentically is also a way of honoring our uniqueness. No one else in the world is like you. Your experiences, your perspective, your voice are all entirely your own. When we show up authentically, we offer the world the gift of our individuality. We bring something new, something valuable, and something needed to the table. The world needs you exactly as you are, and by being authentic, you allow yourself to fully step into the role you are meant to play in it. The more we embrace our authenticity, the more we invite into our lives the people, experiences, and opportunities that reflect who we truly are. Authenticity is not just a way of living, it's the key to unlocking the fullest version of ourselves, to living a life that is not just successful by external standards, but meaningful and fulfilling from the inside out. In a world that often feels focused on what we lack or what we still need to achieve, it's easy to overlook the power of gratitude. We are constantly bombarded by messages that tell us we need more success, more possessions, more experiences, more recognition. We measure our lives by what we have yet to acquire or accomplish, and in doing so, we miss out on the richness of what is already present. Gratitude has the power to shift our focus, to change the way we see our lives and the world around us. When we practice gratitude, we not only acknowledge the good in our lives, but we also open ourselves up to the abundance that is already here. At its core, gratitude is about appreciation. It's the act of recognizing and valuing the positive aspects of our lives, no matter how big or small. Gratitude shifts our mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance. When we focus on what we don't have, we feel limited, lacking, and disconnected. But when we intentionally focus on what we do have, we begin to see the abundance that exists in every corner of our lives. Gratitude teaches us to celebrate the present moment, to acknowledge the gifts, people, and experiences that are already present, rather than always looking toward the future for fulfillment. The practice of gratitude is not about ignoring life's challenges or pretending everything is perfect. It's about recognizing that even in the face of difficulty, there is always something to be thankful for. Gratitude allows us to find meaning and perspective in the midst of hardship. It helps us shift from a mindset of victimhood to one of empowerment. Instead of focusing on what we've lost or what we're struggling with, we begin to recognize the lessons, the growth, and the moments of grace that appear even in the darkest times. Gratitude teaches us that even in the midst of pain or disappointment, there are still things to appreciate and value. When we make gratitude a regular practice, it transforms how we see the world. It deepens our sense of connection to others, to our environment, and to ourselves. Gratitude creates a shift in our energy. When we focus on the good, we attract more of it into our lives. It's not that we are magically grant more blessings, but rather that our awareness expands and we begin to see the opportunities and gifts that were always present, but that we may have overlooked before. Gratitude enhances our ability to notice beauty, kindness, and joy, even in the small everyday moments. It allows us to recognize the richness of life, even when it doesn't meet our idealized expectations. Moreover, gratitude fosters a deeper connection to others. When we express gratitude toward the people in our lives, we deepen our relationships and create bonds based on mutual appreciation. Gratitude reminds us that we are not alone in this journey, that we are supported by the kindness and generosity of others. It also helps us develop empathy and compassion as we learn to recognize and value the contributions of those around us. By practicing gratitude, we cultivate a mindset of generosity, and this mindset is contagious. As we express appreciation for others, we inspire them to do the same, creating a ripple effect of positivity and connection. Gratitude also improves our well-being. Numerous studies have shown that people who regularly practice gratitude experience better physical health, improved sleep, and higher levels of happiness. When we focus on what we have rather than what we lack, we reduce stress and anxiety. Gratitude enhances our emotional resilience, making it easier to cope with setbacks or difficulties. It helps us build a positive feedback loop. When we feel grateful, we are more likely to engage in activities that promote well-being. And as we engage in those activities, we have even more to be grateful for. Gratitude fuels a sense of inner peace and contentment that is not dependent on external circumstances. In addition, gratitude helps us see our lives as a gift rather than something to be taken for granted. It encourages us to value the present moment and to savor the experiences that shape our lives. Often we rush through life focused on what's next and fail to fully appreciate what we have right now. Gratitude teaches us to slow down, to be present, and to recognize the inherent value in each moment. When we are truly present, we can see the abundance that surrounds us, the beauty in nature, the love of family and friends, the simple joys that fill our days. By making gratitude a practice, we train our minds to look for the good. It becomes a habit that reshapes how we interact with the world and how we experience life. Gratitude helps us shift our internal narrative from one of lack to one of plenty, from one of fear to one of trust. It transforms our perspective on what we have, deepening our appreciation for everything and inviting more of the positive into our lives. Gratitude creates an open space for abundance to flow, not just in the material sense, but in terms of love, connection, and meaning. When we make gratitude a central part of our lives, we begin to see that the true richness of life lies not in what we acquire, but in what we are able to recognize, appreciate, and share. In embracing the principles of trust, courage, authenticity, and gratitude, we unlock the true potential of our lives. These values don't just guide us through challenges, they transform our perspective, deepen our connections, and invite the right opportunities and people into our lives. By letting go of the need for control, stepping forward despite fear, and showing up as our true selves, we cultivate a life that is rich in meaning and fulfillment. And through gratitude, we shift our focus from what we lack to what we already have, enhancing our sense of abundance and well-being. Ultimately, when we live with intention and embrace these values, we create space for what we seek to find us, leading us to the life we are truly meant to live.